The Ghost and Mrs. Muir will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Years of work pretty much into this big coffee table book, which now is benefited by a show like this, where you can see a lot of this stuff that I newly created and some of the older stuff I've done.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Become a patron today. Patreon.com/wordballoon. For as little as $3 a month, you can really help Word Balloon keep going and get exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Here's what you get. The Word Balloon Magazine, a digital publication packed with behind-the-scenes interviews, commentary, and insights from your favorite comic book creators, writers, and pop culture stars. And you can join the Word Balloon Book Club. Join Brian Bendis and me for a live monthly discussion of a hand-picked graphic novel. It's a great way to dig deeper into storytelling, art, and comic book history. Word Balloon has been a home for creator conversations since 2005. Your support helps cover production costs and keeps these interviews going strong. So if you love comics, creators, and long-form conversations, become a patron today. Be one of the League of Word Balloon listeners. Patreon.com/wordballoon. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back. It's time again for another Word Balloon Scene Missing. And we're going to be talking today about a great man that we lost, although he had a good run. And that is Robert Redford. There he is young. There he is oldish. But I'm sure we'll cover the breadth of his career in this conversation. Good to see my co-host, Gabriel Hardman. Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, John. Nice to be back.
And, sad times, man, but inevitable. And 89, it's a good
run.
I
mean, absolutely a good run. I mean, I think if anything, the fact that, his hair never changed made people think he would, he should always be around,
Yeah.
And look, he did have pretty amazing hair, and hair that never seemed to change, no matter what time period the movie is or anything else. So it's. He certainly had his aesthetic and he's a movie star, right? Like, he was a movie star. He wasn't really a deeply versatile actor exactly. He was he had that movie star thing, which is a great thing in and of itself. Like, versatility is overrated. Like, being able to do the job that you're doing is the thing, I think.
Yeah, and an accomplished director in the movies that we know, and I mean, listen, if everybody that's watching or listening has your obvious favorites and everything, we understand. But Scene Missing, sometimes we like to dig beyond the obvious, and there might still be a couple of obvious ones in our lists. But,
there will be obvious ones, yeah. But I mean, we're like, the point of doing this is like to cover something a little bit different than what literally everybody else will.
Yeah, the hidden gems.
Yeah,
definitely. Because I already see, Chico Rojo. Last film I watched was Butch, Cassidy, and Sundance Kid. First time watching, and it mostly lived up to its reputation. I think The Sting is the better Newman, Redford, George Roy Hill joint. That's a fair discussion.
Yeah, I feel a little the opposite of that, but if we wanted to start with the super famous thing, I mean, The Sting is fine. I like The Sting fine. It's, it's got its thing to it, but I think, and I guess in reality, I like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid fine too. I really like it. It's a movie that is very watchable and very enjoyable. It doesn't stick with me the way some other things do. I mean, my personal sensibilities, stuff like comparing that to the Randolph Scott westerns, or the those 50s adult westerns, the Anthony Mann, James Stewart westerns and stuff. Like, I kind of do prefer those. Those kind of stay with me more. But Butch and Sundance is such a it's such a well-made movie, and certainly, I don't think from this perspective we get as much of the sense of how different it was, like tone-wise and everything, for these guys who were not who were acting a little bit more contemporary, who were not like those other guys in those other movies I described, not sullen, not whatever. Like it's fun. It's a fun movie. Like it's a movie in a lot of ways, I think.
I'm with you on that, and also it's the first time they all got together, all three of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, hey, listen, Sting's set in Chicago. It's shot in Chicago. There's a lot of Chicago that I love about it. I love all the character actors in that as well. But and that's why I lean a little more towards the Sting.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, Butch and Sundance, no, it's iconic. And again, it represented that New West period in a different way, and certainly different than our favorites of the 50s, like Randolph Scott, Jimmy Stewart, Anthony Mann stuff and everything. And it's the ultimate buddy movie. And the Sting is another great buddy movie.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Nothing against the Sting.
Not at all.
But one other thing about for me that makes Butch Cassidy better is just the look of it. Conrad Hall shot it, who we remember from our Outer Limits days, where he started out, and this was one of the first movies that he shot that became, I mean, I guess he had done a few things before this that were well thought of, but it's an iconic one for him too, and the look of it is so beautiful and well made. Like it's just so. I love the feel of the world of it that they create, and I think that the Sting doesn't work that way to me. Like it doesn't feel like it feels like it's shot like a TV movie to me. Like it's flat. It doesn't have that kind of sumptuousness to it, which I.
And also Chicago, and especially the way they shot it, isn't going to give you the open spaces that we get in Butch and Sundance.
No, totally. But
I agree with you. I don't even know who the DP was for.
I don't know either, actually. Now that I think about it.
So, but here, G. Carroll,
it's probably Conrad Hall, and I'm just an ass. But G.
Carroll says, "Don't forget the Sting had Robert Shaw. Plus, I love the common angle and how all the scams are set up." Yeah, you know what I never knew, and I don't, Gabe, I don't know if you and I ever talked about it, but I discovered a 50s episode of Orson Welles' show The Third Man that was based on the Harry Lime character.
Yeah.
And they run The Wire the same way that the Sting does. And it is an old classic con. That's why they used it in the Sting. But it really is crazy, literally, to...
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, even to the point of, oh, no, I said place the bet.
Yeah.
Not to win, place the bet. And, sorry, everybody, spoiler, 50-year-old spoiler, 52-year-old spoiler.
Oh, okay. So Robert Surtees shot the Sting, and he's great too. So I'm not gonna comment on this. I didn't rewatch that. The Sting is the one that I didn't get around to rewatching just for this, and it's been a few years.
Okay.
So,
a great DP kind of scene, I think, is when Charles Durning is chasing him on that L train platform, and you get them running on the roof and all that stuff happening and everything in a long shot. So I think that beyond the cloistered, betting parlor and train car.
And you know what? It's entirely possible that however I saw it, it didn't look great because the last time, because this happens a lot. Like one of the other things I did rewatch for this, or actually, I don't think I'd ever watched the whole thing. I just saw parts of it on TV before, but The Way We Were, right? And I had it in my mind that it's kind of an ugly looking movie and it's too sappy for me and all that stuff, right? And I watched it, I thought it was great. I actually really enjoyed that movie. Particularly, look, I thought, when Barbra Streisand called somebody a fascist, it's sexy. I like it. I enjoy that a lot about the movie. And I thought she was great in it, actually. And
she absolutely is. And they're great together. Absolutely.
I agree. And his character in it is, an interesting and gets to be a little bit quintessential of the kind of character he'll play, where it's, he's got he's got the look, he's got the Robert Redford of it all, he's the super handsome man, but that there's maybe something a little bit empty inside of him or insecure inside of him, or he maybe doesn't I saw an interview with him where he talked about turning down that part initially, and and that like, and it was kind of just because he didn't. Hello.
Hi,
Sorry.
buddy. Peter
So
the Wonder Dog, everybody, in the tradition of Lassie and Rin Tin Tin. Go right ahead.
so there was he was talking about how he turned it down initially, and that the character just seemed too simple, or it was just too simplistic of a thing, and worked with Sidney Pollack on it a little bit, and found a kind of thing where the character is, he's a writer, and so is she, and the way that he kind of felt like he could. Maybe he didn't deserve it. Maybe he wasn't that great of a writer. Maybe he was just getting by on his wealth and looks or whatever. Maybe it's that that he brought insecurities to the character that are very subtly played and kind of built into the way the character develops. But I thought what made it really kind of interesting. I mean, I think he's a kind of hateable character in a lot of ways in that movie. I mean, he fucking walks away when she has the baby, and but I really do like how she stays true to her values, the way that there's not some kind of very forced thing where somebody gives up something, whatever. I think it's a way more interesting movie than I'd given it credit for before.
I completely agree, and I had forgotten because you hear the song for 50 years, and so it does lean into the romance of it.
Yeah.
But no, I saw it. I didn't rewatch it for this, but I know I've seen it recently enough, as much as last year, and all of the stuff about all the political stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, broadcast nerd, so I'm a sucker for Blacklist and anything like that.
Yeah.
And in fact, we'll talk about a 90s movie that Redford directed, I'm sure, in this conversation as well.
Yeah.
And and I'll even say, here's a guilty pleasure and a more modern Redford film 2 decades later, but in a lot of ways, and sadly I did bring up a photo of it just because I wanted to point it out, Up Close and Personal, which is a schmaltzy movie. But I
didn't get to it. I was going to try to watch it. I didn't get to it. I've never actually seen it. So you have to talk about it.
As a broadcast nerd, it's really Michelle Pfeiffer's career, from nobody at a TV station to the weather girl to a true journalist. And Redford plays this producer cameraman that really helps her, learn her craft,
right,
and get better. It is schmaltzy, but in a lot of ways, it's got a way we were vibe in a different way, because there's a mentorship rather than them being contemporaries.
Right.
But again, but the thing is, just like in Way We Were, and Redford would lean on this a lot of times in other movies as well. He's kind of the center of gravity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as chaotic and everything that Barbra Streisand's doing in Way We Were, in a different way, in different circumstances, Pfeiffer is that kind of character where I don't know what I'm going to do with my career, and should I do this? Should I do that? But I'm in love, and do I move? And again, I appreciate the broadcast end of it, and that Redford is the center of gravity. And a lot of times he's like that, and even going back to the start of his career.
Well, I think that kind of thing that he brings to it, where there's this kind of a weird level of confidence that also doesn't feel arrogant, is kind of perpetually works for him. I rewatched Downhill Racer. You know it, right?
Absolutely. Him and Gene Hackman's great skiing movie. You describe it, Gabe.
I mean, it's he plays an Olympic skier who is, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's a late 60s movie, and it's a sports movie, and it has a kind of like quasi documentary feel to it, which I think is beautiful. And part of that came from the fact that in order to make the case for making the movie, he managed to kind of get like $15,000 and go off with a small guerrilla type crew and shoot at the 1968 Winter Olympics, and basically just shot B-roll type stuff that they ultimately ended up using in the movie. But I think it's the way that the kind of subtle distinctions between the kind of Redford character that he plays in different movies, I think, is really interesting. That he's that it's, and that over and over again in like interviews and stuff like that, he talks about not not wanting things to get too heroic, not wanting things to get too, I like that he has a certain kind of taste where it comes to the character that he portrays, and that it's not as much as you'd think it would be. It's not all about self-aggrandizing stuff. It's not all about actor ego type stuff that drives a lot of this. I think he made a lot of good, tasteful choices about the characters that he played and the kind of character that he could play and the way that he could subtly shift his persona to fit that.
I completely agree, and I'm going to bring up the image as well as because I unfortunately forgot to get it, but G. Kuroho even mentions how much he loves what he and Michael Ritchie did with The Candidate, and Peter Boyle, of course, in The Candidate as well. And there's a great example of, he's our hero, but he's not a great guy. I mean, he's fucking around with his wife and everything. And, once he starts playing the game of a candidate, he gets sucked into the same problems and everything. Here, a great shot from The Candidate.
Yeah.
But
I think people don't talk about underrated director Michael Ritchie. People don't talk about him that much anymore. But those two movies, he did that. The movie, the beauty pageant movie set in Smile, which I think is great.
I was thinking of Smile. Absolutely, man. I didn't want to jump on you.
He was an interesting director like that. I just feel like people don't talk about.
There's another subject for us to cover on a future Steve Missing. I would love to do Michael Ritchie. That's a fair question. I don't know. All right, chat.
Hold on, I'll figure it out.
But no, that's great. But I love The Candidate. And again, younger audiences, Peter Boyle. Oh, Raymond's dad. Yeah, and great as Raymond's dad. But man, Peter Boyle was such a 70s force.
Oh, one of the great character actors. Absolutely.
Joe and everything else. Again, another guy that we could really do a deep dive on his wonderful career. But he is so great as Redford's campaign manager. And I'm spoiling all the movies. Just when he wins and, everyone's surrounding him and he's like, hey, what do we do now? I can't hear you. It's like, all right, now I got the job. I don't know what the hell to do.
It is a great ending. It is a great ending. My mom was just talking to me about it. Yeah, it's can you hear Zeta scratching back there?
That's okay.
Bothering me?
That's all right.
I can put her in the other room. Sorry.
Yeah. G. Kuroho's doing our work for us for Michael Ritchie. He's like Smile, Bad News Bear.
He's dead.
Cut.
He died.
Oh, bummer.
20 years ago or so.
Of course he did.
In 2001. So we missed it. We should have done it back then. We should have done that Michael Ritchie RIP back then.
I didn't know he did Fletch. I didn't remember that he did.
Oh, that's right. He did do Fletch. That's true. I mean,
and the cheerleading murdering mom with Denise Richards. Sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So there you go. Carrie's like, no, don't send the pup away. No, it's totally fine, man. You know that. We don't care.
She's just been scratching a lot too much lately. I gotta take her to the vet. Anyway, I mean, not to turn it into the Michael Ritchie show, but that would actually be a good show to do. That's a solid.
We keep stumbling. I mean, that was the thing, everybody. We were going to do another subject, a couple different subjects, and then Redford died. And it's like, well, we got to cover Redford.
Yeah.
I mean, we covered Hackman and everything. These Hollywood greats when they go,
iconic and good too, right? I mean, not
deserved it. Yes,
somebody who deserves it. I'm with you. As a director, a lot of his films don't necessarily speak to me. I don't think they're bad movies. I think they're
I'm glad you said that because go ahead.
But I'm just I feel like his instincts as a director, the kind of stories he would tell or whatever, are often, apart from Quiz Show that you sort of glancingly got at, which I think is great. And it's and I think several of these movies are really good movies, but they also just somehow aren't exactly for me. I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
River runs through it or whatever. That's all right. Good for you. Good for you. Not I'll spend a different 2 hours.
Yeah.
And ordinary people, I mean, I'm glad I saw it when I did. But that's an uncomfortable movie I never want to rewatch.
It's an uncomfortable movie. I think it can also play as not, maybe not as good, maybe a little too earnest and maybe a little too something. I don't know.
Milagro Beanfield War, wonderful and great representation in that movie, and I'm glad he made it. But again, glad I saw it once. Don't need to see it again. I mean, Quiz Show, again, I can't help it. In fact, on our Kinescope show, we covered the Quiz Show scandals.
Yeah.
And I knew about them prior to the movie. I mean, I saw the old 80s PBS special, and that's where I learned about the quiz shows, because by the 70s, quiz shows were back in full force and very tame. But I really, again...
Well, except for Match Game. But sure.
But the retro of it all and the early broadcasting days of it all really appealed to me.
Oh yeah, all that stuff is great. I actually just think that that's a pretty great movie across the board. But it also, look, like we're talking about, those are the things I'm interested in. It's that the subject speaks to me.
Yeah.
But I would say interesting. Like, I don't know how much we want to go into talking about. I mostly focused on him as an actor. Like the things I revisited, I mostly focused on him as an actor.
Me too.
But I think that Zeta, stop it. I'm gonna have to go put her away.
No. And again, it's fine, Gabe. Truly, I don't think anybody. It sounds like rain. It sounds like reindeer.
Yes. Okay. Great. But I did on his Inside the Actors Studio interview. He talked about how he didn't really understand filmmaking particularly well until he became a director, which is weird. Like, just the process of stuff. And like he said that he felt like it would inhibit him as an actor if he was too deep in the technical side of how films are made. And like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think that but on the other hand, you run into this with actors a lot, right? Where they don't really understand how their relationship with the camera or whatever, and that's somebody else's job. I mean, it does really seem like it would be important to understand, like, focal lengths and the distance you are from the camera and all that sort of stuff and how you're being presented. I mean, if you're in here, it doesn't matter what you do with the rest of your body, But like, I think that but he talked about how, like, he didn't quite have like the words for describing the shots that he wanted, and he was working with John Bailey, who's one of those kind of great DPs of a certain type, and trying to explain a big long tracking shot that he was doing and couldn't, and ended up just sitting down and drawing it out because he had a background in art. He had like initially wanted to be an artist. He drew. I don't know that it's actually. I was trying to look up stuff to feature during this, and I couldn't even find anything. The internet sucks now, but like, and it's actually it's something I do a lot. Like if I hear of somebody who does something else who's an artist, I'm always trying to look up what they do to see. Even George
W. Bush. I'm like, all right, let me see his paintings. And
sure, I mean, less so George W. Bush, but certainly Peter Falk or
Falk, Tony
Billy
Bennett.
D. Williams or whoever, right?
Yes, in fact, I did that when I interviewed
Martin Mull,
Martin Mull, certainly.
But like, I can't find anything, so I don't know. But like, he said that he sat down and just basically drew it out like storyboards to communicate the idea, and that like, which I thought was interesting. It was interesting that he was not able to articulate this stuff, but just himself sitting down and drawing it was the way that he got the ideas across. I mean, but there's something a little bit not, something that is, I mean, he tries for subtle sort of people stuff. And I appreciate that, directing wise. But I do think that, definitely he's a director worth talking about. You know what though? I also came into Ordinary People with a chip on my shoulder because it beat Raging Bull, and because because I don't think it's anywhere near as good of a movie as Raging Bull.
Well, that's that classic. It won Best Picture, but it's the one that didn't win that we remember better.
Right. And well, that's because there's a simple answer to that. All Best Picture nominees are bad, or winners are bad. Not all nominees are bad, but like almost everyone. That's not true, but a lot of them.
No, but when's the last time anyone spoke about The Artist, which won Best Picture?
Loads of them.
Even one that I like Breaking Away.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I
it's
feel like there's a little bit more to Breaking Away than or at least it has.
Than
It had a
Ordinary
little bit. It lasted a little bit longer than some of these that like you never even. Well, I feel like it was something that people were still talking about over not now, but like for a while after, and as opposed to something like whatever Crash or whatever that just disappears.
Sure.
I mean, Crash is one of the worst movies ever to win an Oscar. So that's
great. Hey, let's go back to classics. Greatest show on earth.
Sure, yeah, bad movie too. Bad movie that was given the award politically, right? Like it was a fraught political time. They didn't want to do anything controversial, so they basically just gave the Oscar to the kind of big dumb thing that everybody could go, I guess that's a good movie, I mean, like but I mean, not that movie's terrible. I mean, it's dopey,
no, but it's
it's
a big budget and big cast,
and it's DeMille. Yeah, so it's stupid, right? Like he didn't make smart movies.
Wow, man. There you go.
It's true.
No. Gabe, I completely agree. And I'm just pointing out that this is the kind of movie show that we do. We shit on Cecil B. DeMille and we praise Michael Ritchie. That's all you need to know. And we do a retrospective on our dear departed Henry Silva.
I feel like if people can like Cecil B. DeMille movies and acknowledge they're stupid. They're not
big,
sophisticated. They're big and they're not that bright, and that's the point of them.
I love it. That's fantastic. I do want to go back to his TV years, and this is kind of obvious, but his wonderful episode of the Twilight Zone.
But it's really good. It's a really good episode.
And shame on me, I didn't look up the actress's name, who is the star. But kind of, again, in that same way with Way We Were or Up Close and Personal, he is so great. You can't take your eyes off him. But and this is such young, raw Redford. And it's that Redford center of gravity quality that still comes through. And especially, and why am I not spoiling this with the way I've been spoiling all the movies? But shall we say? I mean, who he ends up being.
But, I think most people know.
She's afraid of leaving her home, and as she's getting older, she's afraid of dying, and and doesn't like to even open the door for the postman or anybody. And all of a sudden, this young man slips on the ice in front of her house and hurts his back, and he's like, "Come on, I'm helpless. You got to help me." So she brings him in,
and he's a cop, right? Yeah, and
I forgot that he was a cop, but
I think that's right, and like he and her building is going to be torn down, and so she's being evicted, and but
the worst circumstances, and then it turns out that and she's afraid of dying, and it turns out he's the angel of death.
Yeah,
and it's so much more poignant than Meet Joe Black. No disrespect to everybody who made Meet Joe Black.
Sure. I mean,
Death Tastes a Holiday, the original Frederick March movie, much better than, although very, very old and very creaky.
And this is actually like, I mean, I'm dumb for not remembering all the details because I literally just watched it. But it's Gladys Cooper who plays the older woman.
Yes, indeed. And I knew that name. Yes.
Was in Zeta. Stop it. Sorry.
Not at all. You can ignore it as far as I'm concerned, unless it's bothering you, man.
It's bothering me, sorry. But but she was in a million things. She's in Rebecca and My Fair Lady and Song of Bernadette and stuff like that. And but like I think that's one of the best. Like I'm not a terrible person. I love the Twilight Zone, right? Like, but I don't think that that they're always super well made. It's a TV show. They made a million of them. It's not, but I think that one is working on all levels, right?
Well, and again,
are great. The writing is great. The direction is great.
It's Lamont Johnson directing, who's one of the better Zone directors. And of course, the great George Clayton Johnson, who Andy Parks and I had the pleasure of meeting before he passed.
Cool.
And that was an incredible thrill to meet one of the original Twilight Zone writers like that.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a great... And also, his speech about death. And it wasn't bad. It's a whisper. It's nothing. And the sincerity in that moment is just really beautiful.
And it's doing the thing in a way that was rarely done for the rest of his career, where he's being, they're using him being so kind of beautiful and his kind of the center of gravity, you call it, and as a counterpoint to the context, right? Like we're talking about death, we're talking about about dark stuff in a lot of ways, and the fact that he has this kind of presence to him, he already has this kind of quasi movie star presence to him. I think that I think that, like, there's a lot of he was in a lot of good stuff. It's one of the best things. I think it's a really, really good piece of work. That
completely agree. Completely agree. Absolutely, man. And now again, another guilty pleasure that I know you and I disagree about is, of course, Barefoot in the Park.
Yes.
Better.
I don't think it's a guilty pleasure. People love that movie, right? It's just me. I'm the only one who doesn't love it.
Okay, because
I don't know.
I honestly don't know either, because a lot of 60s movies will get a misogyny tag or whatever. And Jane Fonda
that's not even the reason I don't like it.
No, and I want to hear it, but I'm just saying that in general, I think a lot of those love movies from the 60s don't hold up well by today's social standards. And
I think that's less the issue with this one.
Well, and likely so. But I love Mildred Natwick as her mother, and I always love Mildred Natwick.
Sure,
Charles Boyer does a great job in it as well as the aging Lothario. I do think Jane looks great in the movie, and it's good young thing. And again, kind of, obviously more gravitas in the Zone episode, but I like young raw Redford, and he's raw kind of in this to me.
I agree, and the real reason behind me not liking it is the thing that makes me more unpopular than just any of the other things. It's that I don't love Neil Simon, and I think it's sitcom-y. Like I just don't find it funny. I find it real forced, and
you do know that they made two different versions of Barefoot in the Park as television shows. There was a white couple, and I know it was called Love on a Rooftop. And then, in that same weird way, and forgive the tangent, everybody, but when Night Gallery was put in syndication, they also fed episodes of this Gary Collins ESP show called The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
And it's part of the syndication package. And Serling did wraparounds just like he did the regular Night Galleries, but they clearly were from this TV show. And in the same way, Love American Style, they used to do a version of Love on the Rooftop, and it was a black couple.
Okay.
And it same dynamics as Redford and Fonda, or Elizabeth Ashley and Redford in the stage version, of course.
Yeah.
Got to show that I know my stage.
And now the stage version was a kind of a big deal, and Mike Nichols directed it, and it was like an influential Broadway thing, and Neil Simon and all that.
Yeah, and it led to The Odd Couple with Simon and Nichols again. Yeah.
But I don't think that it, like, for me, it's like, and look, this is not about it being old. If anybody who talks to me knows that I will, I love comedies from all eras, right? Like, I'm a huge fan of, Capra and Preston Sturgis and then, whatever. But like, but the writing feels sitcom-y to me, and a lot of it comes off forced. There's not a light enough touch in the movie, and it's just kind of shot flat. It's they're doing too much. It's like, I think that everyone involved could be like, I think there's a better movie that another director would have made, maybe even Mike Nichols, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't know. I know Gene Sachs directed Odd Couple, but I don't know who directed Barefoot. Once again, chat, help us out. You're watching. You got free hands. But
I don't. But I think that I wouldn't get past the. It is Gene Sachs as well. Like I wouldn't get past. I'm just the villain who doesn't love and has never really loved Neil Simon. I just don't connect with the stuff. It feels
well. And I'm not ready to open his entire IMDb, but I have a feeling Gene Sachs did just as much television as he did do film.
Oh yeah, he seems like a journeyman. I'm sure
he's a jobber. He's a jobber. It's cool. Yeah. But yeah, that's funny. No, I
Well,
I love when we stumble onto stuff like that.
a
That's good.
movie I watched for this that doesn't, it's Redford doesn't star in it. It's from '66. It's from the year before. The Chase. Have you seen this?
I have not talked to me.
Okay, so like it's Arthur Penn, and it's a kind of sprawly sort of. I believe it's based on God. You're seeing me not having enough time to do all my notes.
It's all right, buddy. You're busy.
But it's based on a Horton Foote novel and
I love
play,
Horton Foote.
and
Sure.
Lillian Hellman wrote the script and the screenplay, and
Wow.
and Arthur Penn directed it, and Brando is in it. He plays, and it's like a small town, small southern town. And Redford plays kind of like a town ne'er-do-well who keeps going to jail, and he busts out and he's on the run, and so he's kind of on the run for the entire movie while other stuff with various characters, melodramatic stuff with various characters is happening in town. But it's one of those movies where his part isn't huge, although he's at the beginning and the end, he's throughout it, but it's one of those everybody brings it up, but the Orson Welles, or maybe it's just me who brings it up all the time, I don't know. The Orson Welles thing about the play Mr. Wu, where like Mr. Wu never shows up until the curtain call or whatever, and then everybody's like, oh, Mr. Wu is fantastic because everybody talked about Mr. Wu the entire time. Sure. They feel like he's a main character, and this movie's like that. Like everybody talks about him in his character for the entire movie. So it's like, even though he's not on screen all the time, and he does give a good performance in it, it's more like, and his name is Bubber Reeves, Bubber. So they're always talking about Bubber. And, but I think it's a movie that I'd never seen before. I'm sort of aware of it, but I actually found myself really enjoying it. There's the bad parts about it are kind of that it's a contemporary movie set in 1966, and some of the kind of like Paul Williams plays one of the teenagers, and and there's a little bit of that kind of cheeseball 60s, like we don't understand the youth type stuff in it, but I thought it was actually a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. I was surprised. I just thought, and I think it's streaming on something. It's on Tubi or on Pluto or something like that. It's streaming free someplace. Oh, okay. So I would recommend it. I recommend checking it out. It's not bad.
I'm very ignorant, other than Reflections of the Golden Eye and Bedtime Story, which is the original Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Brando and David Niven and Shirley Jones. I'm kind of ignorant about 60s Brando, again, with the exception of that. And
well, 60s Brando gets,
Yeah.
Like most of those movies are not good. Like it's an interest. I mean, including Reflections of the Golden Eye.
Yes.
But
I'm just curious.
Puzzling choices.
Yeah. Even that one that he made with Rita Moreno, and I can't remember the name of it, where he looks amazing. He really. I mean, and it's only like 2 years before Godfather, but I mean, he is beautiful and hip. I mean, looks late 60s, cool and beautiful and everything. Mike Cronenberg, one of my buddies, is a big Brando nut and is happy to tell you about like movies like that. And I know, sadly, Rita Moreno did not have a good experience as his girlfriend and on the movie. So much for that. Carrie has a comment and says, that sounds like Mr. Kurtz in Heart of Darkness, main character that only shows up at the very end. Sure. As far as
sure. I mean, like really just that. I mean, I think that here's the thing. I've been thinking about actors a lot lately. I've been making this short film and casting. And there's a thing where actors will look at a script and go and judge it by the amount of lines they have, right? And like judge their part by the amount of lines they have. And I think this is a misunderstanding for some actors, right? I think that I think the smart actor looks at it and goes, how often are people talking about me? Because you can have a relatively small part, but if other people are talking about you when you're off camera, you're in the audience's mind, you're there, right? Yep. So just counting lines isn't going to tell you how important your character is in it. You can have a character with a bunch of with more lines, more scenes that is a more recessive character that doesn't make the impact. But everybody else building you up is as important as anything.
Yeah, Parker says, and I'm sorry Parker isn't with us tonight, the Harry Lime rule.
Yeah.
And Jikaro wishes you well in your short film that you're making.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Very cool. And that's true. Also, Jikaro was wondering, and another great filmmaker that we could likely do a great show about, he wants to know, have we've seen Brubaker, directed by Stuart Rosenberg? I have. I didn't get to revisit it for this, so I don't have new thoughts. But but it is. Yeah, I mean, I certainly remember seeing it and loving it both in the theater and on VHS when I watched it.
I remember it being a good movie.
Yeah. And Stuart Rosenberg, my God, not only Cool Hand Luke that Chiku Rojo points out, but Pope Greenwich Village. I mean, he's one of my favorites.
And I think I'm pretty sure he directed a movie that's not exactly a guilty pleasure because I love it. But let me just, before I make a idiot of myself, Pocket Money. This movie Pocket Money with Lee Marvin and Paul Newman, and which Terrence Malick wrote, right? But it's basically a comedy, and which you don't associate with Terrence Malick. But he wrote like two goofball movies that Pocket Money and Deadhead Miles, which are two super weird. Deadhead Miles with Alan Arkin in it, which is super obscure. It's hard to find. I've only ever seen a bootleg of it.
Crazy,
but it's full of so many oddball little things. I mean, there's this moment in Pocket Money where that I think about literally all the time. And forgive me if I'm getting some of the details of it wrong, but there's a thing where they're facing off against, like some guy threatening them. They're on like in the street, sort of facing down, and I think it's Paul Newman picks up a rock and throws it, but it comes nowhere near hitting the guy, right? And Marvin's like, why did you do that for? And he's like, well, now every time he sees a rock, he's gonna think of me. And it's like, that's one of the greatest ideas ever, like in movies. I like.
That's excellent.
Excellent. I agree that we could definitely do a Stuart Rosenberg.
That'd be amazing. Absolutely. Again, we got to keep the short list, man. It's not a short list anymore. My God, we got like
it's getting longer, but yeah, we should keep up with this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, and don't worry, Parker. I swear we're gonna get to Night of the Hunter. We were planning on doing Night of the Hunter, and then
we're gonna do Night of the Hunter next. I believe it's true.
100%.
Like we were, we got a little derailed by it's Robert Redford's fault.
Everything.
Frankly.
Yeah, way to go, Bob. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously, we have to give it up to him for Sundance and the creation of that.
Yeah,
and the awareness that it brings to independent film. Wonderful, wonderful thing. So that's cool. And then there's the also rants. Like when Gabe and I were texting about Redford, I'm like, I got to be honest, I don't give a shit about Jeremiah Johnson. I really don't. Care.
Right. So I did rewatch Jeremiah Johnson, which I didn't really think of as a movie that I liked, and I'm still a little bit on the fence about it, honestly. But the fact that John has this visceral hatred of not only Jeremiah Johnson, but literally any movie that takes place in the wilderness. It's a weird personal phobia that we've uncovered about John.
Well, what was the movie that was won the Oscar for in the last couple of years?
The Revenant.
Yeah. Could have cared less. But that said, like as we've talked about before, 7 Men from Now, that's an outdoors movie.
That's what I'm thinking. Like westerns.
John Ford.
Westerns are.
Well, that's the thing, and I love that's.
What's the difference? I want to drill down into what the difference is.
I'm happy to tell. There's westerns, and then there's wilderness movies.
Okay.
And I don't like the wilderness movies. I don't like.
No, I could have figured that part, but like, why is the question?
I don't know. Man Against the Elements in that way, I get bored. I get bored. I wish, I wish
Here's
I
the
didn't.
part about it that I think is a little bit of a fatal flaw in the movie. This guy asked for all this shit. Like, he just deliberately went out there And like when things go bad for him out in the wilderness, he just wanted to go out and like be a man and live in the wilderness and trap beavers or whatever, right? And like and then terrible tragic things happen, but it's kind of like, dude, you asked for this. Like nobody forced you to go out in the fucking wilderness, you know?
There you go, man.
Like
Okay,
but
all right.
like but at the same time, I thought there was actually a lot of interesting stuff about it. It struck me as better than I thought. It's another Sidney Pollack movie, and I think I kind of love Sidney Pollack as an actor. I think he's kind of all over the place as a director sometimes. Like sometimes he's made great movies and some not great movies, but like two Sidney Pollack movies were way better than I remembered them being. The Way We Were and Jeremiah Johnson. And
Okay.
I did like. I mean, there was a lot about it I liked. It's twofold thing. It's like, and these are things that are just tough. I mean, if you're just taking it on its own terms and not thinking about it at all, I get it. But like, not you, but the audience member. But like, I don't. There's both the you asked for it aspect of it, and there's also just, this is an issue with all Westerns in some way, but more so with one of these wilderness type movies of that time where, like, look, he's the villain. Like the native people are the heroes, and he's the villain. He's the one who's invading their land and trying to, and doing, and killing the animals that they would hunt, and and like trying to take over and stuff. That's not a hero. Like in any circumstance, the guy who comes, like people live someplace, some asshole comes in and starts like killing them and taking their shit. That's not the good guy in the movie. So like it is a little hard for me to reconcile that. I mean, it's hard not to think about, well, those people live there. Leave them alone.
Hey, I understand and different perspective back then. Now that's interesting. Lieber says, of course, and I already put up the comment, but for the audio audience, he says Jeremiah Johnson inspired one of his favorite William Messer Loeb's comics. Journey, didn't know about that, but that's cool to hear.
Interesting.
G. Carroll wants to know, am I not a fan of Jack London? I'll tell you. Well, first of all, I'm not a fan of his politics, unfortunately. But Jack London's been a good.
Wait, what do you hate about Jack London's politics? Is he too big of a dirty red commie for you?
Well, am I forgetting, and am I mixing him up with another writer? But at the turn of the century, he was a sports writer for a time, and was very anti-Jack Johnson when Jack Johnson fought Jim Jeffries. I believe that was Jack London.
Know about that? I don't know about that.
And even wrote I'm reasonably certain of that. And folks, please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm happy to be wrong. But I do know, and I'm reasonably certain it was London. I know that Hemingway also had his share of sports writing as well, but didn't have that issue. But I'm pretty certain it was London. And it's Call the Wild White Fang, et cetera, and everything. I'm aware of the book.
I mean, I think you're right about. So you're saying he was a racist? Is that what you're saying?
Well, as much as most white people were.
I mean, within the context of the times, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, second-class citizens, and Jeff. We can't let this black man be champion.
I really do. I mean, I love Jack London's stuff. Like but look, I do think there's compelling stuff about the kind of people against the
elements
against the element stuff, and but I do. I mean, but I think there's more about Jack London work that that's resonant for me than Jeremiah Johnson. But like. Sure. I mean, look, I worked on that Call the Wild movie from a couple of years ago.
Oh,
I took
it
only because I love Jack London, and then by the time I got into it, it's like, so they're all cartoons. What's going on? Like they're
remind me who was in it.
Harrison Ford was in it, but like it died a death at the box office. I think
80s,
but
90s, obviously
3 years ago, right before the pandemic. I worked on it. Well, I mean, I guess I was around in the 90s, but like, no.
Gabe, I usually
it more disappeared. It just didn't,
crazy.
It was
who directed it?
An animation guy.
Crazy.
Who's super great. Who's super nice guy. But it was. I didn't connect with the fact that it was basically, apart from the live action actors, a fully CG movie that was way too over the top and was trying too hard to be like something that it wasn't. And I love the kind of I do love the kind of, you know, elemental quality of the Jack London
Sure.
stuff that is
Well,
not served by big, ridiculous, over the top things.
I like Seawolf with Edward G. Robinson.
Seawolf, yeah, Seawolf is great. Seawolf, the book is amazing. I love the book.
And I remember reading that when I was a kid.
And the movie's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Pretty good adaptation. Yes,
totally. Look, I feel like everybody should read that book right now. It's an anti-fascist book. It's like it's in, you know, played out as drama, you know, and which is the way to tell a story. You know?
And ironically, G. Kuroda says that Jack London was a socialist, but George Orwell felt there was a fascist element to his work. Okay. Again, that's an Orwell observation. That's fine.
I mean,
you know, whatever.
However, Orwell was an anti-communist. I mean, Orwell, you know, like he was. That's what he was. I mean, yeah. I don't necessarily even disagree with him, but he was, you know, he's ideologically driven in that comment, right? Because
understood.
You know.
Well, all right. Here's another obvious one of Redford. Got to get back to the Redford of it all. I gotta say, obviously, it is probably my favorite Redford movie, and that's 3 Days of the Condor. Here he is with Cliff Robertson.
Yeah.
But more importantly, again, one of these guys that is just hovering in the movie until the near the end. The great Max von Sydow as Jobert.
Sure.
The assassin. Gabe, I'm sure I've told you before too. If I could draw, I would be writing and drawing Jobert inspired adventures.
Sure.
Of an international hitman. Yeah. That has that look. I don't know if and I forget the international creator that made The Killer, and perhaps he's inspired.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can't remember the name.
By von Sydow and Condor. Yeah. Also, I blew it, man, years ago, and didn't put two and two together because I didn't know about this actor's time in The Untouchables or Car 54, Where Are You? But Hank Garrett, who plays the hitman postman that Redford has the great judo scene with and everything.
Yeah.
He was at a memorabilia show where I also met Robert Vaughn, who I was well aware of his career.
Sure.
And Margaret O'Sullivan was there, which was amazing. And the British 50s pinup model June Wilkinson was there, and she was lovely. Stella Stevens was there. Okay. And I spoke to Hank Garrett, and I knew about Condor, but I didn't know about Car 54 and
right.
And The Untouchables.
Sure.
And yeah, the guy was, and he had great action shots, likely from the lobby cards that he would sign and everything. I didn't get one, but it was lovely talking to the guy. That's and cool. there's a guy who's literally in two scenes and just amazing. But Cliff Robertson is so great in the movie as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a brilliant, and I think it's a movie that still makes sense today.
Yeah, it is a really good movie. I mean, I think there's my last watch of it, I felt like maybe I didn't feel like it's Faye Dunaway, right? Like
yeah.
And I didn't feel like their chemistry worked as well as it could have in my last watch of it, but I think it's a great movie. I mean, I really enjoyed that movie. One of the things, I mean, I'm not exactly known for watching newer things, but but I did, and by new, I'm talking about something from 35 years ago. But Sneakers, I watced that Phil Robinson.
Yeah, tell
movie.
Me, Gabe, because there's another movie that I don't think holds up, but I haven't seen it in a long time. In fairness.
I thought it held up way better than I thought it would. I thought it would be terrible, right? And but I think that it weirdly, like, even though it deals with technology and stuff like that is dated, it's there is a surprisingly kind of light touch to it, and there's a real charm to it in a way that I really didn't think would be the case. Like I just wanted to watch something from the 90s, and I had recently enough seen Indecent Proposal to not fucking watch it again. And but I actually thought, like, it's not some brilliant movie. But I would be surprised if you didn't enjoy it more than you expected to if you rewatched it. It has a light charm to it. Sidney Poitier is in
River
it.
Phoenix too.
River Phoenix. What's his name from Good Night and Good Luck?
David Statham.
Plays Morrow. Strathairn.
Thank you. I never get his name right.
It's weirdly Dan Aykroyd. I don't know. I don't think it's a brilliant movie, but there was a sort of light touch to it that I liked. The guy who made it, Alden Robinson, I think he made the one Field of Dreams, and I worked with him one time actually on a movie that got made, but just not with him or me. It was 13 Days. It was called.
I love that movie.
Yeah. So like
about the missile crisis and Cuba.
Yeah,
and
I actually think it would have been a better movie if Phil had made it. Nothing wrong with the movie. I thought the movie was pretty good, right?
One of my favorite 2000s movies.
But like I worked on it for a few months with Phil, who was a real like kind of, an odd guy for a director who's not great at like, he'd come from being a screenwriter, not great at like focusing on a lot of things at the same time. He'd be super, he'd need to like super focus in on things. But he was kind of smart and had kind of nuanced approach to stuff that like, I don't know, always came across in the movies that he made, but like, but I was more impressed. I thought Sneakers was more fun than I expected it to be.
Okay, because honestly, the other thing too is, again, how far we've progressed from the digital age. Since that movie.
But honestly, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, for one thing, it's happening. It's a period movie. It's happening when it's happening.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like what it's about is not irrelevant. Like thematically, it's not irrelevant.
Okay, no, that's fair.
I also watched The Old Man and the Gun.
Yes, sure. One of the later
Redfords. Basically his last lead role.
I couldn't remember if it was that or All Is Lost was the last one, but I'll take
All Is Lost. I think was a little before it. I like All Is Lost a lot. Actually, I was a big
brilliant
fan
movie.
Of that movie.
Yeah, brilliant movie, but very depressing. Or a little depressing.
That's okay. I don't mind that.
I understand. I'm a wuss when it comes to that shit.
I feel like you shouldn't like it because it's like the ocean is the wilderness.
Yeah, and again, I don't know why, but ocean movies are my exception.
All right.
Although Old Man in the Sea, as great as it is with Tracy, is a little
that's
tough to get through.
I don't think that's great. There you go. But like I really like that All Is Lost movie.
Yeah. But talk about Old Man and the Gun.
Old Man and the Gun was pretty good. Like it was not. I wouldn't say it was perfect or there was a lot of depth to it. Like it was pretty slight in a lot of ways.
It's a romp,
but charmingly slight. And I thought even though I'm pretty sure that he was supposed to be playing a 67-year-old and he was in his early 80s. It did kind of work. He's real old, but like he still has a kind of charm to him in a way that he could, and he was able to play that. And, he plays a kind of, a bank robber who basically just gets by on his charm and frequently got caught and would one way or another escape over and over again. Yeah. And Sissy Spacek is in it as a kind of love interest, and Casey Affleck plays the cop who's trying to track him down. But actually, like some of the things that it did that were self-consciously 70s style things, like the Casey Affleck character not actually being the one who catches him and isn't really exactly decisive and stuff, heading towards something cliche and overting, being I'm not thinking of the word, but changing things up. I thought it was totally watchable, totally enjoyable. Not it didn't, a slight movie in a lot of ways, but not a bad movie to go out on in a lot of ways too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Still fun. That's cool.
I mean, he was probably in like Avengers or something after that, but the last lead character type movie.
Yeah. I think it was after Avengers. I'm reasonably certain it was.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that's fine. And hey, listen, it was fun because all of us had Condor in our minds when we saw Winter Soldier. It was really great that
I mean, I did, and it worked against that not very good movie, but you guys all love it, so you can live over there loving it. It's fine.
But again, that he seems to be an ally to the heroes and then the villain turn that we get. And again, listen,
he's fine.
Pitching,
it's
he's
fine.
pitching underhand. I totally understand.
It's not even. It's not. He's not the problem.
No,
the problem with that movie is the people who made that movie who are not skilled filmmakers. But whatever, it's fine.
So that's Gabe's recommendation for Avengers Doomsday coming your way next year.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. I'm talking about Winter Soldier.
That's not out yet. That's next. That's the
right. Sure.
Followed by Secret War in 27.
I know. Yeah,
no.
Sure.
Well, I'll give you and I think he squeaked in and was credible, and it's a good two-hander. Tony Scott's Spy Game with Brad Pitt and Redford.
Oh, right. Yes.
Another guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I almost worked on that movie.
No shit.
Wow. Like what happened was it was for some reason I was at Comic-Con and I didn't get the message. Like I got a call for it. I was at Comic-Con. I somehow missed that that I got the message, and and then by the time I called him back, somebody else had got the gig. So which is not an interesting story, but I had a slight interaction with that movie.
All right, fair enough. And I don't normally like a lot of Tony Scott's movies. They're fine.
It's not my thing.
But
he's not my thing. People love him. It's not mostly not my thing.
Sure. No, and again, I mean, obviously credible action director and everything, and there's good action in the movie.
I mean, that's what people say. I mean, not to me, but I mean, because I think that look, everybody can love Tony Scott. That's great. I'm not really shitting on Tony Scott. Like, it's just my taste, and and pointing like 10 cameras at something and covering it to all to hell is not great action filmmaking to me. Great action filmmaking is making clear choices, building the suspense, doing and like there's an indiscriminate quality to Tony Scott movies that I don't love, and other people do. That's great, but I feel like he's a shooter who doesn't think through what's going on deeply enough to really exploit what's great in a scene.
Gabe, I'm gonna ask you to take over because unfortunately StreamYard has been buggy and my audio dropped out.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't hear you for the last 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
Which is why I might have looked blank or confused. But
Okay.
I'm gonna sign out and come back in.
Okay.
You keep going. Here's a comment that Lieber has. Apparently, Redford's last scene partner was George R.R. Martin in a short scene in Dark Winds. So,
Interesting.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I did not see that.
I'll be back in a minute.
I noticed that as one of the last things on his IMDb, but yeah, I mean, I think that late old man Redford had a kind of like interesting quality to him. I mean, it feels like he certainly worked later than a lot of people did. Although now, I mean, I guess like Harrison is still working. Like he's 80 in his early 80s, and this is more of a thing these days. But I don't know. Now I have to like vamp. I'm just by myself. Like John left. I don't have anybody to talk to. Zeta's restless.
You can talk to Zeta, of course.
Are you back? Can people hear you now?
I am back. I hope I'm not echoing.
I don't hear any echo.
Excellent. All right, because I abandoned my earbuds and now I've got you on my external speaker.
No, you seem good.
I don't know what the hell has been going on lately, but there you go.
I mean, I think I covered all the movies that I was going to cover, but what?
There's a couple, and I'm bummed. I guess you really have to dig to find his and get the DVDs of the old Dr. Kildare series.
Yes, I tried to look for this, and I couldn't find it either. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he was on twice, and the second time he was on, he was kind of a cocky young doctor that would be Kildare's obviously opposite. And again, it's kind of like when we were talking about Hackman in some of his early TV and stuff, that it's one note, but again, kind of like in the Zone episode and Performance, much more nuanced, but you can't help but pay attention to the guy. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's back, in Richard Chamberlain's prime. So you have these two matinee idol, guys and two
Mhm.
golden boys, literally, and
Yeah.
everything. So I find that interesting. And then we could only find a 7-minute scene that he did in a great Rod Serling. I believe it was Playhouse 90. It was one of the anthology shows. I'm sure we would have covered it if we could find the full kinescope, because I've been aware of it for decades. In fact, when they made the
I
Rod
know.
Serling PBS, they acknowledge it and everything. And
Right.
it's In the Presence of Mine Enemies. And it's him and Charles Lawton and a great cast. And he's a young Nazi officer, and he's terrific in it.
Yeah, I really wish that I could have seen that. Like, I tried to track it down. If I just had more time right now, I might have gone over to the Paley Center and watched it or something. But
That's
it's
probably where it
yeah,
is.
that seems like an interesting thing. I mean, like whether it's great or not, I don't know. But there's enough elements there that I would just like to see it. I mean, it's basically our kinescope territory too.
Yeah.
Playhouse
Gabe,
90.
J. Carroll Nash did one season, and I don't know, maybe it would be problematic to do now, but he had a radio show that was very popular called Life with Luigi. It was about an Italian immigrant who comes to America and is really one of these gung-ho, God, I can't believe I'm in this land of opportunity, but he's learning the culture, and it's kind of classic sitcom kind of zaniness. Alan Reed plays his Pasquale, who's his best Italian friend, who kind of leads him astray. And listen, they're doing Chico Marx kind of Italian, and maybe that would be problematic. I don't know.
I don't think that would be problematic. I think the only thing that would be problematic about it is the just inherent sadness that at one point it was a world of opportunity, and or this country of opportunity, and that's no longer the case.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it was a very funny radio show. It only lasted one season on TV, but I found a kinescope of it from 52, and every now and then I find other kinescopes, and it's like
interesting.
If Gabe wants, we can always go back to that.
I have no issue with going back to kinescope. I mean, and or certainly just doing kinescope episodes if we wanted to. I mean, we don't have to do things that people are interested in, right? Like we could just do things that only we are interested in. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, again, I am so pleased and really an opportunity to thank my Word Balloon audience for hanging with these kinds of shows, or when I do sports, or when I have my Chicago radio buddies on and we talk about the old days, that we go beyond the nerd stuff. It's a different kind of nerd stuff, if you will.
Okay, we got to talk about the natural, though.
Yes, I see Cooper's comments, so yes, go right ahead.
I think it's garbage. Anyway, moving on.
Shut up.
No,
that's no.
I don't. What
you like it or no?
I like it. I do like it. I didn't. I've only seen it. I only saw it when I was a kid in the theater, and this week. So, I don't know why. It's just one of those movies that I never got back to again, and I think that it was surprisingly disjointed of a movie in some ways. The way that it works, the early stuff, him getting shot, by Barbara Hershey, and and then cutting later and his career later. I mean, it's hard for me not to think why have the beginning of this movie at all? Like, why is this movie not just starting with him as an older guy, getting back into it, and then we learn about that stuff, and it comes through dialogue and through character, and and instead of the kind of weirdly herky-jerky beginning of it where he's playing a much younger character less convincingly, she shoots him for no reason, which is part of it, but and it's not a bad thing within the story, but I did have a hard time understanding why we spent the time on that at the beginning, when the drama is him coming back to it, and we also are gonna find out about all that shit again over the course of the movie.
It would have worked without that stuff, or in shorter flashback sequences. I can appreciate
if it were building to something. I just don't know that. I don't think it helped the. I know this is an unpopular opinion to criticize the movie at all, but it was odd to me that I don't feel like that worked as well as it could have. But
That's fair.
but yeah, look, Caleb Deschanel shot it. It's an unbelievably beautiful looking movie. Like it is that the shot where he sees Glenn Close in the stands and she is backlit just by that one shaft of light where it's just like, I don't think they lit that. I think that's the sun, right? Like, and it's, and like that means they had to have like scouted that, figured out that just that one thing at that one time would work. It's just such incredibly beautifully made movie in that way. And all the sappy stuff still kind of works, and I like the movie. I mean, I also think that it ends a little abruptly in a way that isn't as satisfying as it could. Not the final run and all that sort of stuff, just the like, and cut to he's playing ball with the kid in the field in the end.
With his son? Yeah, but yay, happy. And that's fine.
It's fine that it's a happy end. It's not bad that it's a happy ending. I felt like it was a little abrupt, but there's loads of it that works. It's a lot of it. I enjoy it. All I'm saying is I saw it as a kid. It made an impression on me as a kid, and I'm coming back to it after many, many years. So I'm just looking at it differently than somebody who's watched it 100,000 times over the years.
I literally watch it every year. I'm sure it's going to be on as we hit the postseason of baseball. I think it's wonderfly cast. Joe Don Baker is great as the Whammer.
Sure.
Our favorite Darren McGavin is amazing as the Gambler.
He's great.
Robert Prosky is amazing as the
Prosky. Absolutely. Yeah.
Even and now I'm blanking. It's what's her face. It's Alec Baldwin's ex-wife, who's
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger is great. And of course, for me, the moment and the line of the movie when Glenn Close says, "What happened to you?" And he goes, "My life didn't turn out the way I expected." And it's great because he has the right look on his face.
Yeah.
That is the movie right there. That's what happens.
He's also playing a little bit of one of these characters over and over again are kind of shallow guys that he imbues with a kind of, a feeling of depth just from the kind of performance that he's giving, like you don't like, I feel like a lot of the characters he plays, if somebody else played them, I would just dislike them in the movie, or I would find them boring or something like that.
I understand.
And I think that he is bringing something very particular and unique through his kind of movie star charm and stuff. And there are those people that like just are movie stars. They're a movie star in real life. My mom was talking about how like she was at an event where he was at in Santa Fe or something like that, and like she didn't talk to him, but at one point they were both out. I'm telling her story, but they were just both outside, in the patio area or whatever, and he was by himself or whatever, and she wasn't going to bother him. But he looked over and smiled and gave her the Robert Redford smile, and it's just like you could just imagine what that is, right? Like, he had something that is sort of undeniable, an undeniable connection with the camera too.
No question. And there are very few people, Elizabeth Taylor's like that, they just know how to play to the camera. I'm so with you on that.
And just bring it naturally. There's some indefinable thing there that you can't articulate.
Yeah. And two other supporting actors that are amazing in it, and I won't deny that part of it is a sentimental thing with me. But Wilford Brimley's excellent as the manager, but Richard Farnsworth as the coach.
Farnsworth, amazing.
My grandfather on my father's side looked exactly like Richard Farnsworth.
Oh, okay.
It frightens me how much that or True the movie True Story or whatever it's called, the God damn it. The guy who died recently who did Twin Peaks, your guy.
The Straight Story. Yeah.
Straight Story. There you go. What's his face? Talk to me. Tell me his name so I can feel less like an idiot.
David Lynch.
Yeah, David Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. And I know David Lynch, just again.
Yeah, no, totally.
Much before I got out.
Yeah, he's great in The Natural. Like, he's really, really good. Robert Prosky's really good, too. I didn't realize until very recently that Thief was the first movie he was in. I just assumed that he had been a character actor in movies forever. And but no, he's born as an old man character actor in the movies. But great.
Yeah, being buddies with William Peterson. He told me that when we first talked about Thief, because he's got a brief. He's the bartender that hassles Jimmy Kahn in Thief and everything. So and he was thrilled with the movie. But he's like, oh yeah, Prosky, incredible. And I love Robert Prosky and everything he does. So thank you, G. Kuroho. Shame on us. We're not talking about All the President's Men, which I adore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just something. I mean, that's
fact,
just
one of.
Sorry, it's just such an obvious one. All the President's Men, but like, it's great. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think there's. I think it's a kind of unimpeachably great movie. I don't have a great, some insightful thing to say about it. I think it's really, really good. It was too hard for me. It was too hard for me to watch it now, though. Like, I couldn't. It was too depressing for me to watch it. It create like. I think Gordon. I'm always talking about these DPs this time, but like I think Gordon Willis shot it. It's like it has the Godfather and everything, and it just has such a tone to it. Like it is a movie about journalism. It's all those sort of things, but it's working on every level, just technically and like all those little performances and so good. Did I freeze or something? Are you all right?
That's cool. All right, now we're back. No, I must. Maybe I froze, but we're all back there, so it's fine.
I don't know who froze. We have no way
I
of
agree
knowing
with you,
who
and I
froze.
believe that Gordon Willis did indeed shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. The post that Spielberg made about Pentagon Papers, which happens before All the President's Men.
Yeah.
When I saw the post, I'm like, if you're in a double feature of those two movies and you fall asleep in the middle of the post and wake up mid-film on All the President's Men, you think you were watching the same movie. That's how good the art direction was and the attention to detail, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think I actually like that movie. I thought it was good.
They're fun, but hey,
You're frozen for me.
Okay, I didn't. Again, I kind of. Yeah, I did. I know I froze because you froze on my end, and I figured that was probably me freezing. I see my Wi-Fi screwing with me a little bit.
It's entirely subjective.
Two things about All the President's Men. Dwight.
Hello?
You grew up what way?
What's that? I can't hear you. Like you're freezing up for me, or I'm freezing up. I don't know.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Sometimes. Can you hear me?
You can't hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Sometimes.
Can you? Yeah. I mean,
I can hear you fine.
Patchy. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. I was going to say, Dwight. We can wrap then if
maybe
things are
we
getting
should.
crazy.
Maybe we should because I'm
be
not. I'm
right,
hearing that
that.
every other thing.
All right. Hold on. And for our post talk, I'll call you. But all right, everybody, we'll wrap up there.
Okay.
That's more than enough about Robert Redford and his films. But thank you very much for watching. And we will join you again. And likely Night of the Hunter will be our next scene when we do it.